Hey folks, welcome to today's the Steady Trader video. This is about the fourth time I'm trying this. The app here, the YouTube app I'm recording this on is misbehaving today, so hopefully this is going to work. We have a fresh 5 sessions ahead of us, and I want to start today's or this week's video series with a bit of perspective. Or a pro tip on how you can gain perspective. I just finished off some coaching client calls, made the video for our clubhouse members and things like that. And so one of the things that we do every single Monday is we review the weekly charts. And I've talked about this before in this video series, but it is so important, and I'm going to continue to talk about it because it's unbelievably important to understand that what's happening on a weekly closing basis is much more important than what happens on a day-over-day basis. So looking at weekly charts, it's just part of the process, right? It's not the entire process, but it's really important we do that. So what I'm going to do for you guys right now live is walk you through some weekly charts, which is just a small part of the analysis that we do every single Monday for our clients, the coaching clients and all that kind of stuff. So let me flip the camera around. And what we're going to start off with here is a very simple weekly chart of the financial sectors. Let me quickly type that one in, and the ETF here is called XLF. We talk about that one real quick, but there is a reason why the XLF, or the financial sector ETF, is important. So now again, what we've done now here is each one of these bars is a weekly bar, okay? And the financial sector, of course, being the second largest sector of the S&P 500, the largest one being technology, is really important to the broader market. And I'll show you guys the S&P 500 here as well in just a minute. So what you can see last week, we once again had the financial sector bounce off of and hold this 50-week moving average. That's this yellow line on your chart, which is very closely associated, or lines up very closely with the 200-day moving average, just so you know. And what you can see is, even though we have no sort of free no sort of screaming buy yet on financials, it's nice to know that they're holding support. And again, not just on a daily basis, not on a 15-minute basis, but on a weekly closing basis. You're not going to go a little bit deeper into this and just pick away at some single name stocks within this space. JP Morgan doing something very similar. And so again, when an important part of the market does this, that's important to note. We then look at the S&P 500, the SPY ETF, and what you can see here is a very similarly bullish type of structure. And the way it lines up here is, again, you can see we bounced nicely off of support. Again, the 50-week moving average in this case coming, and that's not really the point of the video. This moving average, the point of the video is the weekly charts. And you can see how as early as early April, we started to see signs, and then certainly coming into early May, late April, that this market just doesn't really right now feel like it wants to go lower. Why? Because things are holding as support on a weekly closing basis. And then we had nice buying here, I guess the second week of May. And now, yes, last week again, the market tried to push lower on an intra-week basis. But again, that's just intra-week. That's not all that important. What's important is what's happening on a weekly closing basis. So this, to me, for all intents and purposes, actually has now basically brought us to a marginal breakout. And we want to respect that as far as I'm concerned. Now, another thing that you can do is do this in relative terms. So one of the parts of the market that we like right now is buy technology stocks. So I typed up here in the left-hand corner, if you look up here, I typed in the IBB versus the SPY. And you can see the biotechnology ETF giving us relative strength again now for, I guess, the third or fourth week in a row. You can see nice buying starting to come in here in May. And again, this is all happening. This is now in relative terms, i.e. versus the S&P, but again, holding on a weekly closing basis. So last week, this was a real nice move taking place. You can see, again, sticking on a weekly closing basis after the week prior. The biotechnology stocks attempted to sell off intra-week, failed to do so last week, followed for buying. So this is just a very simple but an unbelievably important part of the analysis that we do. Again, the top-down approach, looking at the broad market from big picture first, then the sectors and groups, seeing what's moving there, where are the odds, and then ultimately going into stocks. And so looking at the weekly charts is just part of the process, but it's a really important process. If you want to join us for this kind of stuff, I'm very happy to send you an application to fill out for coaching or for the Clubhouse membership. We are for coaching only going on on an invite basis or on an application basis. But leave us a note down below if you feel like you're interested in this kind of stuff. We'll be happy to send you that. Have a great start to the week, and I'll see you tomorrow.